Now it's David Livingston, Executive Director of the Mississippi Loggers Association. Hey, David, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you. Good to see y'all this morning.
All right, tell us how the industry in Mississippi is doing. I know it's a pretty big industry in our state. We're blessed with lots of natural resources that make logging a very viable economic endeavor.
Yes, right now we've over the past several years had a lot of new investment in new mills and all, particularly sawmills in the state, which has been a big help for our landowners in the state of Mississippi and our loggers. Was in a meeting earlier this morning with some guys with the Huber Engineered Woods. They're getting ready to come online next year up there at Sugar Lock with that new OSB plant there, which is going to be a big help as well. So, overall we're doing really good. Just still struggling in the pulpwood side of things of having enough homes to send that product.
Okay. So the Trump administration has relaxed some of the regulations, right, with respect to where timber can be harvested. What does that mean to Mississippi?
We have, I think it's 3 national forests in the state of Mississippi, maybe 4, I can't remember. But at any rate, lots of timber on it that has been neglected over the last 25 years. That's really been a decline in the amount of timber they've been harvesting off of those due to environmental concerns as well as frivolous lawsuits that were brought against the U.S. Forest Service to stop those timberlands from being harvested and managed in a sustainable manner. So with this, it's going to open that up to where they can get back in there to manage those forests and do the proper things that they need to do to keep the forest healthy. I always say, one of the main things is that a green forest will not burn like a dead forest, like what we see out in California.
Okay.
And what we're seeing from the big bug epidemic that we had in the drought from 23 into 24. So, it's a cycle just like anything else. And those trees, if you don't cut them, they're going to die. I mean, there's no way to stop it. So with the knowledge that we have of growing trees and replanting trees and all that, we will never run out of them, but we've got to take care of the ones we got or it creates other problems for us.
Okay. So will this provide some opportunities that didn't exist before because we could get on these lands and do some, I guess, limited harvesting?
Right. It's kind of a double-edged sword in the fact that, that forest land needs to be managed just like anybody else. But the big issue is that we really don't have the infrastructure here to purchase and buy the existing timber that we already have.
Okay.
Primarily in that pulp sector, anything that's used for pulpwood or for OSB, just like the plant there at Huber. We don't have enough of those facilities, pellet plants, anything like that uses low-cost wood, from the plantation thinnings and from the tops of the trees. We just don't have enough outlets for that wood with the private landowners that we have in the state now. When you open that up on the national forest, that just crowds an already saturated market. So,
okay.
Great thing that we can get back in there and try to manage them, but over the period of time, for one reason or another, we've lost infrastructure in the state as far as our mills. And when I say infrastructure, I'm basically talking about our mills and stuff to be able to consume that wood.
What about the lagging effects, David, of the drought that we had, a couple of years ago? And, I mean, it was quite noticeable to anybody across the state, just the amount of timber that just didn't make it.
Yes, we lost a lot of timberland across the state. The effects that we're seeing now, we still have a lot of hardwoods that sometimes it takes that hardwood tree 2 to 3 years to die,
really?
For it to cycle out.
Okay.
We're still seeing some mortality in the hardwood sector of it, but also it's created another problem with the brown spot needle blight. It's very prevalent right now across the state. You can see it, and you look at the trees, and they look like they are dying. Most of the time, thank goodness that the needle blight does not kill the tree, but it does stress that tree, and it could lead to mortality and another beetle outbreak. And I think this is all results from the drought, from them being under stress. It's just opening them up to other diseases.
Well, I've noticed that. I'm glad you explained that. I mean, because you see kind of drooping brown needles, and then, but at the same time, you see new sprouts of green needles and the little, I guess, buds that create even more. It's like, well, the tree doesn't seem to be dead, but why has it got all this brown growth on it?
Right. It's called the brown spot needle blight, and it's a fungus and all. It's created from lack of burning from the drop leaves. It's a mold spore.
Okay.
It's just one of those cause and effects, I believe, that may be an after effect of the drought that we're still dealing with. So, and we still got a lot of acres that have not been able to be cleaned up and cleared up and reforested just simply because of the cost. And here again, most of that wood would have been considered pulp wood or low value wood, and we just didn't have the markets to sell that wood into. To get rid of it, to get it cleaned up so that the landowner could get it replanted.
What about the president's tariff policies, David? How's that affecting our logging industry?
It really hasn't trickled down to us as of yet. Some of our mills are seeing an effect of that because they sell into foreign markets, have a lot of export that go into foreign markets, and of course they're being hit with that tariff on that. But on the other hand, I'll use pulp for an example, and this is one of the reasons why we've lost so many of our pulp mills in the past 20 years, is that in 2024 we imported $3.88 billion, that's with a B, dollars worth of fluff pulp, got brought back into the country to be made into paper products, but we've shut down hundreds of paper mills. So, and they're keeping the paper factory open part of it. They're just shutting down the processing part from turning the wood into pulp to make the paper.
I see.
So they're bringing in the baled fluff pulp to make the paper out of.
Okay.
And that's just one example. It's happening with structural panel. Of course, the big thing everybody was talking about was the softwood lumber, and that's a big deal. But as a whole, it's even a bigger picture than that. So I don't know if it's going to work. I don't think anybody really knows, but I think it's just a tool in his toolbox, and he's trying to bring awareness to get some change, to get a more even playing field. Because when we're competing against, and I'll use pulp because that's one I'm most familiar with and one I've done the most research on here lately, when you're competing against a country that has no environmental standards on their mill like we do here, we haven't had a paper mill built in the United States in almost 40 years. Well, there's a reason for that. It's not cost effective when you can take down an existing mill here, move it overseas, put it back together, and make the same product and then bring it back in. So, and the scary thing about that is we're talking about what the president's trying to do. It all kind of ties together with trying to fix our forest and get them managed and everything. The Paradise Fire, I was told, out there that was out west last year, in California, the smoke from one fire done away with 20 years of environmental regulations that we have in the United States. Just that one forest fire. So that's the importance of being able to manage our forest.
I see.
But if we don't have the mills to manage our forest, we don't have to have a place to do that. It's kind of a vicious circle there.
Need a balance.
That's right.
Somewhat. Well, I didn't realize that no pulp mills built. What'd you say, 40 years?
In almost 40 years, correct. We've had no pulp mills, but there's been existing mills that have shut down here. I forget what the number is in the past 20 years, like 177 paper mills, something like that. I can't remember the exact number that have shut down. Recently, we've had a bunch of them. Within the past 10 years, we had GP shut down the Crossett Mill and them. And I understand it. They're in business to make money, and they've got to make money.
Sure.
And in order to do that, they got to do whatever they got to do to survive. And if we're so tight on environmental regulations and everything here that we can't manage our forest to bring and have a place to haul that wood to, they've got to go somewhere else to where they can do it because they're in the paper making business.
Man,
I mean, it just makes sense.
So does that mean then that we ship the lumber elsewhere for turning into paper through these paper and pulp mills?
Well, no, they're actually harvesting it in those countries, like Canada and Brazil, or they have vibrant forest industries. Brazil, those are the top two producers of pulp back into the United States. Brazil grows the eucalyptus really, really fast, and they're bringing it back in. And they can do that cheaper than we can grow it and process it here.
Unbelievable.
Which makes no sense. But a lot of that it lies within environmental regulations that were placed on these companies that aren't really fair. So,
David, appreciate the update. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. David Livingston, Executive Director of Mississippi Loggers Association, has been our guest. We're coming right back, folks.